Oh, hi guys, Emma again. Home, but there's still some footage from London that might be interesting. This is the Transport Museum, the London Transport Museum. It's worth a look, but not somewhere you can spend all day looking around. I guess it's probably aimed at kids, but there's plenty to see if you're from outside of London, and these are things that you've never seen before. There's a lot about the electric railway, and this is one of the surviving Salford Ironworks locomotives from the original electric tube, and a model of it. And a look down inside, pretty primitive, and a little bit scary and dangerous. Look at the big switch on one side there, but electric nonetheless, and not smoky. So that was pretty cool to see, and the matching coach there as well from the same time period. Another place I visited was the Royal Observatory at Greenwich. This is Harrison's last long case clock regulator, which he said was up to 1 second in 100 days, which wasn't a bad effort really. Grasshopper escapement there with a mirror on it so you can see it. This is a more modern clock that was built to demonstrate that Harrison's principles actually would work. A beautiful clock. Someone's put a lot of work into that. Someone else might know the history of this clock, but it's a gold medal winner in its own right. This is Harrison's first C clock and second C clock and the third C clock and the fourth C clock. Do some googling if you're not sure of the history of those, but they're beautiful timepieces and a lot of work from one man with quite a story attached. This is the gallery that they're in. Very difficult to get good pictures of these because most of these clock galleries in London are quite dark and dingy and very difficult to photograph or to video, but they're well worth a look if you're ever in that part of London. This is Wren's octagonal room, and it was built to house the observatory clocks and long pendulum clocks. I think they're 14 or 16 feet or something. Don't quote me on that. And they hang down the walls, but it's a room that I'd only ever read about, so it's great to see it. And this of course is the observatory room. This is the mechanism for opening the doors in the roof. And if we have a look, that gold strip there from one end to the other, that's the Greenwich line, and standing about on top of that now, there it is. And of course a bit of a look around outside down towards Greenwich and the college there. And it's quite on top of a high hill, so it's a bit of a climb to get up here. But that's the observatory. I'm glad I made the trip, and I spent best part of an afternoon. Some fancy gates there leading into it. Now, things like that, if you keep your eyes open, you can see all over London. And there's a lot of work goes into some of these things. Even much more modern gates and things you see on the street. Of course, the Cuddy Sark, I was running too late for that, but it's worth a look. Of course, outside the observatory gates there was this plaque and a set of public standards of length. Who needs a micrometer? It's all written there, and you just got to take it up to the gate and check it. Of course, I didn't ever see a hump pelican, and I did look, but course, a trip to London wouldn't be complete without a trip to the Science Museum, and there's a lot to see. So this is all over the place, and I didn't take comprehensive notes, and if you have a look at their website, I'm sure you can find any information, anything you need to see. Bit of a look at some of the beam engines. This is a very early one with the wooden teeth in the flywheel, and as found condition, I think it's probably a Bolton and Watt. This one's a Cornish engine, very early Cornish pumping engine, very tiny one, and that's next door. There's surprises round every corner, and there's another early rotary beam engine with the planetary gear instead of a crank. Actually, really nice installations here. It's would have been time for another afternoon perhaps, but I just didn't fit it in. There's another little beam engine, a model, and running on compressed air. Really pretty 12 column beam engine. Another one, a little rotary beam engine. And of course another one, you're going to get sick of beam engines by the time the end of this video. This of course is a workshop. It's Maudslay's workshop. And his lathe and some sort of copy machine that he's built. It's a bit of a treasure trove, and sadly it was a bit dark and it was behind glass, but lots to see there. Really enjoyed the look around. This is a big engine in the foyer. There's the cranking engine there, and cranks and oilers all set up and not in steam, and not sure whether it actually runs, but beautifully polished. The coreless valves there, and a tandem compound I think. But lots and lots to see. Every corner you walk around, there's plenty to see, and like I said, I could have spent probably another afternoon there. Now, beam engines at every corner. There's lots and lots to see. This is a little electric powered workshop, and sadly it was a bit dark, but I could have spent a couple of hours just watching this go round when you press the button. And lathes there, and planers and shapers, and boring machines, and just about every conceivable files bench there. Every conceivable machine tool. And it's, when you pull it away you can see the scale of it. But all overhead belt and line shafts. And really a pretty cool model. And worth the trip if you don't go and see anything else. I really enjoyed just watching it. And why is there always a kid with hiccups? Oh, it's just one of life's mysteries. No idea about that one, but you've got what you got. And there's the file store there, all wrapped up in paper. Little miniature files on the bench and the grindstone. It's just something I'm going to bore you to death with, because it's probably one of the best things that I saw in London, to be honest. I really did enjoy this, and I went back to it a couple of times. And this is a lathe from, I believe, the 1840s. Beautiful machine, big solid bed, big solid saddle on it. Good, accurate machine, I would imagine, and still an accurate, good, useful machine. And this is up on the mezzanine floor, I think. There's lots to see, and there's Mausler's screw cutting engine there, and a lathe, and lots of tools. A set of verniers there, and a set of scraped, beautifully scraped surface plates. Belonging to Joseph Whitworth. This was in the agricultural section, and lots of stuff to look at here. And if you'll humour me, there's a little bit of video I took, and mostly of the models. There's the Ferguson system patent model. Some of you might be interested or familiar with that. Something you don't see every day. I thought that was well worth getting on film. Lots and lots of pretty cool models here. There's a steam locomotive, a beautiful engine there, LMS locomotive and cutaway coach. There's a early Sentinel steam wagon. A very pretty model. And a workshop, the mobile workshop there. Cutaway of a train and a Rolls Royce. Beautiful model there of a Rolls Royce, built for Rolls in the 1920s. A really nice model. And right beside it, it's what appears to be a hay rake or a tedder or something. There's horse drawn. Stuff's all over the place, and you you could spend days and days here and not actually see anything. So this is just a bit of a taste. And please forgive that it is all over the place, but there's a cutaway locomotive there showing you all the insides, and a model, patent model for a toilet, and another locomotive, and some of this stuff I would have to go back and read the plaques on because I can't remember what it all is. There's another locomotive there. For all you guys that are inclined to think guns are awesome, this is actually a gun stock lathe, which is a very early one. It's an American one, I think, for copying gun stocks. It's an ingenious sort of a machine. And there's a paddle wheel engine, or a model of one. It's right next door. That's a piece of Australian history as a euthanasia machine. It was actually legal in the Northern Territory for a few years. This, of course, is Babbage's calculator. It's, wow, what a machine. Everyone needs one, but something that was interested, and a couple of people sort of asked me to keep an eye out for that. And back in the agricultural section, there's a working model of a team of Fordsons preparing a paddock. There's a smudge on that one. I think this one's probably got a set of harrows. It's a pretty cool model, actual real dirt, and just turning it over. Fairly interesting, whether you're a tractor person or not. It's kind of cool. There's a plough on this one, I think. Two furrow. And not sure about the last one. Is this, of course, is a copy of Harrison's first sea clock. It's a fairly worthy addition to any collection. It's a beautiful clock. This gallery with the clocks was much too dark and very, very difficult to see anything. So that's Stephenson's rocket, and a broad gauge engine in the background. So much to see. As we'll finish that one off with a planer, I think, and a milling machine. I just want to say thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like and all that sort of stuff if you feel so inclined, and really appreciate you taking the time to watch. Be kind to each other, and more soon, guys.